I love catching fish on topwater. You probably know that if you've been around the channel for any amount of time, or if you've subbed to Alex Red Fishing for a long time, you guys know I'm a topwater fishing fiend. And for me, topwater is one of those styles of fishing that I've invested a lot of time into, and I've refined certain things that I have noticed over the years of catching fish on topwater that have helped me to pick out some kind of unique colors for topwater fishing that sometimes for me seem to be the difference between getting bites and not, and or getting big bites and not. And it's really interesting because I think a lot of the times we as anglers overthink colors, but then sometimes I get to going down the rabbit hole and start to notice things and kind of in my own, keeping ups with, what I'm throwing, what I'm catching fish on, and kind of my own fishing journaling that I do, that there are certain colors that stand out when others won't. And in today's video, I want to share some of those colors with you and kind of give you some sneaky tips for getting certain colors that may be hard to find. So the first one is going to be a classic color that I don't see a ton of companies making anymore, but they definitely should because of how effective it is in the bass fishing world, and that is a redhead, bone base. And so like this red-headed color, you see it a lot in saltwater. It's very, very prevalent in saltwater, and that's actually kind of where I rediscovered it. Now, rediscovered it because my dad back in the day used to throw a Zara spook. It was a white body with a red head all the time. He called it clown, and I believe that's what this color is called. And I mean, he used to absolutely beat my brains in with that bait, and then it kind of faded away, and there was so many other different color topwaters came out, and I think Spook quit making that particular color for a while, and it became hard to find. And then I went red fishing with a buddy of mine, and he had nothing but a red-headed, this is a Berkley Jaywalker. That's actually what he had tied on. He had nothing but those Berkley red-headed Jaywalkers tied on. And I'm like, dude, why do you, that's like old school stuff. Why do you throw that? He's like, man, there's something about the red head on that bait that those fish will target in on. And I've noticed that they'll eat that one better than any other topwater. And so I was like, you know what? It's been a while since I've thrown one. Why don't I pick it up? And now for me, it is one of those topwater colors that I've always got in the box. And I've got it in several different styles of topwater. Not only my walking style topwaters, but also my plopping style topwaters and like my poppers and things like that. It is such a dominant color, and I think it has a lot to do with that red head on that bait. Red is one of those colors that a fish can absolutely see, and I think when it's on top of the water, it acts a lot like a target for those fish to kind of target in on and to eat really, really good. Because what I have noticed the most is a lot of those fish that I catch, they'll have that front hook in their mouth just like that, or they'll have come up and ape the bait and it be sticking out of their mouth just like that. And I think that red head on that bait does a really good job of just being a target for those fish to, again, target in on and for them to eat it. And so this is kind of a sleeper color. And the thing about it is in the Jaywalker and in a lot of different brands, this is actually a saltwater exclusive color. And what's really cool about the saltwater baits in particular is they come stock with these upgraded 2X hooks. Now the thing is there's nothing wrong with the standard Berkley Fusion hooks. I've caught a bunch of fish on them, but these 2X hooks are great for especially if you fish around toothy critters like muskies and pike, or if you're fishing in lakes that have big stripers in them like I do, because there's nothing worse than when you hook like a 25-pound striper and it absolutely destroys your topwater hooks. These hooks on this thing allow me to catch those big fish while not bending them out. But then also when I hook a bass, I've got the reassurance that I'm getting them into the boat and nothing's going to come undone. The next color is going to be sort of sneaky as well. Hopefully we can get it out of here. Hey, look, it come right out of there. And that is going to be pink. Guys, pink for smallmouth bass and spotted bass especially, also works on largemouth, but there's something about smallmouth and spotted bass especially, they go absolutely nuts for it. I'm not really sure what it is, to be totally honest with you. I do know that a smallmouth bass's eyes and the way they kind of perceive the world's a little bit different than a largemouth, but if you ask any smallmouth angler, there's two colors that drive them crazy: chartreuse and pink. And a pink topwater for me is such a sneaky thing, and honestly I can't believe I'm sharing it with you guys right now, because it's been a bait that I've tied on time after time in so many different situations and been able to pick up extra bites that I probably wouldn't have been able to get, and or go to particular places and bodies of water and just know that pink works. And what's really weird, and again, super sneaky, I can't believe I'm sharing this, is super clear water pink seems to be a color that will attract fish from a long ways away. And so I've got a bunch of different styles of baits, again, in the pink color, from my plopper style baits to my popping style baits to my walking style baits. Pink is a staple in my box, and it's something that I believe is just a little bit different. It's something that not a lot of people want to pick up. And you know, when you look at guys that fish heavily pressured bodies of water, especially like the dudes who fish in Japan, the dudes who are fishing in South Korea, and especially kind of in that Asian world of bass fishing over there, pink is a staple color that a lot of those guys use to get bites. And that's kind of where I picked it up. I was watching some dudes on line fishing with pink, catching big smallmouth bass, and I thought, I've never really thrown pink a lot, picked it up, and again has become a staple in my topwater box, especially because it just gets bites, and it gets big bites at that. And then the last one is going to be another old school color, but I absolutely love it for topwater fishing, and that is your classic frog color. Now this is like old school. For you guys that have not been around bass fishing very long, you might not recognize this color, but this is a color that Zara Spook made for a long time, and it's just like a frog color, that greenish kind of base. It's always got a little bit of like a brighter kind of chartreuse green, the white belly. And the thing is I don't know why, I can't explain to you why, but there's something about that kind of yellowish green combo that gets bites. And I've noticed that when we get like later into the summer, when you got a lot of those algae blooms, when the water gets kind of that darkish green color that it gets right before we kind of start to tip off into those cooler temperatures, the old school frog color will get absolutely hammered. And it's a color that I've always got in the boat, especially for that situation. I've also noticed that like when I'm in darker, dingier water, kind of that tea color water, things that you would associate with like fishing down in Florida or some of those kind of northern lakes that have that tannicky kind of color to it, this color right here will get bites sometimes when nothing else will. I wish I could explain to you exactly why it's the truth, but I can't. I just know the fish eat it. It's something that, as you guys can notice, I mean, I've thrown this thing a bunch. This thing has caught me a ton of fish. And again, in the walking style, the plopper style, and the popping style baits, I've always got it in my hand, and I've always got it ready to go. And I absolutely love throwing it. And if you guys want to see some topwater fishing in action, click this video, it's popping up right here.